Hi there and welcome back. Today we're going to be making apple jelly. The really cool thing about jellies, except for the citrus jellies, lemons, limes, grapefruit, oranges, those you need to do a couple of more things to give them more bite. Yes. So, these are going to be the atypical fruit jellies. Today we're doing apple. Keep in mind, making jelly is a very sticky affair, even if you're going to do the shortcut that I'm doing with it. What you need is a pure juice, 100% juice, unsweetened, no pectin in the juice. Unsweetened 100% juice, in this case it'll be apple juice. You're going to need sugar, and you're going to need fruit pectin, and you can buy that at a store easy enough. It's going to be about 3 cups juice, 4 tablespoons pectin, and 3.5 cups sugar. So, with that being said, I need to make a note to my movie people on here. Yes, I know, continuity. What I'm talking about to the rest of you is where you want the scene to be exactly the same all the way through. There was one certain individual talent, or you should say star, that used to drive wardrobe nuts by changing the watch to the other side of his hand. He'd keep moving the watch back and forth. It was driving them nuts. It was hilarious. Anyway, 3 cups juice, 4 tablespoons pectin, and 3.5 cups sugar is all you need to make a jelly. Again, remember, unsweetened, because with 3.5 cups of sugar, it's going to be very sweet. You'll notice in this video that you'll see me changing. All of a sudden I'm in a different outfit. All of a sudden I'm using different pans. What happened was, the first time I made this batch, a camera had stopped working and I didn't know it. So I kept on going. And of course, when you're in the middle of making a jelly, you can't stop because of equipment failure. So even if I knew, I was still going to have that problem. When I made the second batch and tried it again, the other camera failed. Well, the first one that had failed was still working. Technology, what can I say? So, you will notice my outfits change. Yes. You will notice that I'm using different pots, different scenes, but we've managed to piece it all together so it makes one video. Without more being said on that, let's get to it. Alrighty, so we have our supplies together, ready to go. 3 cups apple juice, 100% juice, unsweetened. No sweeteners added. We have our Sure-Jell pectin. I'm going to go put that up on the stove to heat it up. There's a continuity issue there. See if you can spot it. Alright, so here I am measuring out 4 tablespoons of the Sure-Jell into a little bowl. And I'm going to very lightly tap the bowl to get this in a little at a time. Stir it up. And you keep repeating that process. You do not ever want to dump the entire 4 tablespoons in at once. Bad idea. You're going to end up with pectin chunks in your jelly. You want to make sure you get it stirred in there really, really good before you add the next little bit. It's not going to clear while you're doing this. It's just the nature of this beast. But you can tell if you put it in too fast. It'll start to lump up on you. And that's not very appealing in jelly. So we're going to let it heat up. It's got to get up to a boil, so I'm measuring out my sugar, which is going to be 3 1/3 cups total. As we're getting the sugar ready. Okay, putting it in the bowl. We're going to kind of cut it off here. So it's 3 1/3 cups of sugar. If you really don't want it that sweet, I'd say it's safe enough to cut it down to 3, but not much more than that. And before I start getting all these emails, Yeah, well, this is an adult household. It's an adult kitchen. If we want to eat sugary stuff, we're going to eat sugary stuff. End of story. My kitchen, my rules. So, and besides, this is the way my husband likes it. So anyway, I am getting the apple juice and pectin up to a boil. That white stuff you see on the edge, that's actually pectin. It's easy to clean off. Don't sweat it. I need to get it up to a full boil, and that is looking really good there. And then I am going to start adding the sugar. Again, a little at a time. Don't want to put all 3 cups, 3 1/3 cups in there at once. Bad idea. So there we go, stirring it down until it clears. I'm putting the bowl in the sink, get it out of the way. And then really stirring it because I put a ton in there at once using my super vampire speed. Alright, it's clearing up really well. That stuff you see on the bottom, that's not sugar. That's actually bubbles. It does thicken while you're making it. It's not jelly thick until it cools down, but it is thickening. And as you can see on the edges how it's getting up there. I need to get this up to a full rolling boil that I cannot stir down like that. And now I'm going to have to stir it for a full minute. We want to make sure everything is mixed in there real good. Everything hits temperature for the pectin, so the pectin will set up real well. And here I wanted to get you a close-up view of what it looks like. Please keep in mind, you have to keep stirring this. Once it gets to this point, don't stop. If you do, it's going to boil over and you're going to have the worst sticky mess in your life. Ask me how I know. That's right. Oh, wow, continuity issue. All right, yes, right there, the pot changed. So, but it's the same deal. Doing a pot with 7 glass jars or one with 5, and I always make sterilized extra jars than what I need. Mainly because if I end up having a little extra, I can just pour it in the other sterilized jar and stick it in the fridge if it doesn't fill the top. Here I'm stirring it up a little bit more, and I'm going to take the lids off first because they're sitting behind the jelly. And I don't want to burn myself on them. I do not boil the lids. I'll simmer them, but I don't boil them. I don't want the boiling lids to be bouncing around and damaging the wax rigs. Here comes the jelly. Now you can see on top of that, that is not heat causing bubbles. That is a film. And what I'm going to do is scoop that film off and put it in a little bowl all by itself because it's going to go bye-bye. So I try to do it the best I can with the least juice I can catch with it. But sometimes that can't be happened. That film, by the way, is pretty thick. So we want to get all of it out. And I think that's about the last scoop. I may have one little bitty. Nope, that's it. Okay, do not throw that bowl full of pectin down the sink. Let it cool down and then put it in the trash can. Unless you're like really big in meeting plumbers and paying them lots of money to fix the clog in your sink. Don't ask me how I know on that one. Okay, filling the jars. As you notice, the jars are on a towel. I am wearing my heat gloves because quite simply, yes, that stuff's hot. Hot jars, hot jelly. And we're going in there. And this stuff is super sticky, just so you know. Checking the headspace on these, which is going to be, I believe, let's see. Headspace is usually about, what, 1/4 of an inch? 1/2 of an inch? I believe it's 1/4 of an inch on that one. I'm cleaning the jars off with the vinegar so the lids will seat properly and seal. And I getting the rings on there. Remember, keep them finger tight. You want to make sure you can get them off easily without risking breaking a seal, getting a lid off. And putting them back into the water canner. Put the lid on, wait for the mixture to come up, or the water to come up to a full boil. And then wait, cook it for 10 minutes or can it for 10 minutes, take the lid off and let it sit for 5 minutes. After it's set for 5 minutes, you can take your jars out. So, getting the jars, hot jars, onto a towel. Never put hot jars directly on a counter. You will not like the result. It's got to cool for 10 hours. 10 hours later, okay, this is not a continuity issue. I had already changed, bathed, changed, got some clean scrubs on because, again, making jelly is sticky. One of these I'd already covered and realized, oh, yeah, I need to show you guys how to put these little cloths on. So I'm taking the rings off and I am testing the lids, making sure that they're not popped up, they are sucked down. And I can't just pop them off with my fingers lightly coming over them. Alright, the cloths are just to keep dust off of them. And I started to do the half hitch and tie it here. And realized I really needed to show you better what I was doing. It was kind of hard to see there from the top. So I had started to snug it down and went to untangle it. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to show you how I did that. So take your piece of string, jute, whatever, grab it from the center, pull it up, fold it in half, and what you're going to do is bring the loose ends through the loop, and that's a half hitch. And then you tighten that down, easy enough. Make sure your cloth is under your string. Snug it down, and then take the two separate ends, bring it around, and tie it like you would a shoelace. And it was fighting me a little bit. But tie it down just like you would tie a tennis shoe. And I did end up trimming these down just a little bit, but I wanted to be able to show you. Okay, let's go on to the second one at super vampire speed. Ta-da! Zip, 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 zoom. And that is done. Ta-da! And there's our jelly, all ready to eat.